Good morning, Forex Profit Filter traders. I hope you've all had a good week in the markets. We've certainly had some moves there, and the adjustment we made last week from the 8 range to the 4 range really seems to have paid off, because even though we had another range bound week, another week where the markets didn't really do too much, we managed to find a few opportunities there to be able to make some profits. It started off really with sideways price action. So as you can see here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the markets didn't really go anywhere, and if they did go somewhere, they didn't give us the pullback. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there wasn't a lot of opportunity on the table. There's one setup there on Wednesday which presented itself with all of the right attributes, apart from the fact that you were trading directly into the S1, and remember, we don't trade into the pivot point, so that one kind of made that one null and void, so we couldn't trade that one there. Then Thursday rolled on. We had a few opportunities. The first of the opportunities actually turned up in lunchtime, so around 12:05. It was this one over there. We don't trade at lunchtime, so obviously that isn't one that we would have taken. If you had taken it, you would have been stopped out anyway, but that's why we have the trading times, because we trade at the times where we have the highest probability of success, and through the lunch hour really doesn't present you with a high probability of success. So we didn't take that one there. You then had another few opportunities about 45 minutes later, again during the lunch hour, so we weren't trading there anyway to be able to take advantage of that move there. The market then started to go give us a little bit of momentum. This was this first one here, but the moving averages hadn't really quite lined up at that point there, and also the trade, there was only sort of 4 or 5 pips before the pivot point, so there wasn't enough on the table there to be able to convince us to take the trade. We then get another opportunity over here at 13:34. Again, the moving averages hadn't quite lined up, so we miss out on that opportunity there. That one went sideways in any case. And then really the first opportunity is this guy over here. When the market starts to roar off, this is the first time we get momentum. So now the moving averages are aligned. Now we're looking for a long opportunity. We're looking for a decent pullback. Okay, that's something that's very, very important to us. We want to see a nice pullback in the price action, because that gives us the indication of the markets moving harmonically. If the markets are sort of chopping around, that doesn't represent harmonic price action. We've done a few webinars on this, so if you haven't seen it, please go back and take a look on the members portal. There's particularly the kickoff webinar. I think it's in 2013. We did one specifically where we talked about the pullback, so please go back and watch that, because it's very, very useful. It talks to you about, you know, taking the highest probability setups and why we don't take setups like this one here. Even though the CCI was in the right place, we get 2 consecutive candles in a row, which is a good thing. The fact is that we had a lot of momentum in that direction there. We didn't have enough price acceptance, and the market sort of, it chopped about. We didn't get a nice sort of V shape, if you like, pullback. It sort of went there and then it sort of moved sideways, and that's not really what you're looking for in terms of a good trade setup. This one over here, we don't get involved in because we've only got a 3-bar pullback. So that one, we miss out on that opportunity, as do we miss out on this opportunity here, because ultimately the price action's horrendous. So there's a few opportunities to make profit there which we don't get involved in, unfortunately. The first real one is this one over here. So here we have some nice momentum in the direction of the trend. We've got a nice pullback, at least a 4-bar pullback. The only problem with this one is that by the time you get the 2 consecutive candles in a row, the markets have already moved from the lows, and we like to take it towards the turning point. Once the market's in motion, it doesn't really give us as high confidence as we would have if it was down there. So it's up to you as to whether you would have traded it. We personally didn't, for that very reason there. But that was the first moment that we had momentum. We had a nice pullback. And pretty much everything sort of set up for us there. We then get another opportunity over here, but again, same deal as this one over here. Okay, by the time you get the 2 consecutive candles in a row, you're already trading in towards the resistance point, and you got a pivot point there as well, so it isn't a high probability. This here is the first time that everything lines up. This is at 2 o'clock. Okay, so the market's already been moving up. We are looking for longs at this point. The moving averages are providing us with a dynamic level of support, which is what we like to see. The market has a bit of a surge. It breaks out above the highs there. It then gives us a nice pullback, a nice 4-bar pullback. We don't count that one there because it's pretty much the same as this here. A nice 4-bar pullback. It finds support on the dynamic support and resistance provided by the moving averages. We also have the R3 over there as well, so the resistance 3, which is acting as support. The market breaks through it, breaks back above it, and that is our indication to get in right there. CCI is in the right place, and as you can see, the market then literally roars off and makes us a really tidy profit. We then get another opportunity 5 minutes later, and this one's actually even better than that one over there. This opportunity here, the market has got some serious momentum with it. It's got a nice pullback. We then get the opportunity to enter there. 2 consecutive candles in a row. The CCI is in the right place. That's another opportunity to enter. Unfortunately, that one stops us out. But there's nothing that you can do about this. Okay, that's trading for you. This one we didn't get involved in because the price action at that point didn't look favorable. By that point there, we're starting to chop a bit. It's unfortunate because this one would have made you money, but we didn't get involved in that one over there. And then we get involved in this one here. So the market then breaks out above the highs. It then pulls back to a previous level of resistance, which becomes support. The pullback isn't the best, but it does show us clear direction and clear price acceptance, whereas some of the others, so for example, this one, no, these ones were okay because this wasn't the setup, but this here, this doesn't represent a high probability setup because this is chopping around. Okay, you don't really see a direction, the market's just moving sideways. This one here, you can see that price is clearly in an acceptance phase. We've also got previous resistance, which is one of the most important things. So previous resistance becomes support. So the market breaks out above it, comes back to it. Previous resistance now acting as support literally to the pip. You then get the opportunity to go long. CCI is in the right place. Moving averages are all pointing in the right direction as well. Lovely opportunity there. And as you can see, the market then roars off and pays you really quite quickly. That then sort of wraps it up for the rest of the day. We don't get involved in this long over here. First of all, because it's outside of our trading time, so it's just gone 4 o'clock. But secondly, because the pullback there, after this pullback, we would have liked to have seen the opportunity to go long, but unfortunately after this pullback here, it then starts to go sideways, dips back a bit, and then gives us the opportunity. So that doesn't really represent a high probability setup. And that's the key to trading, girls and boys. All right, you really need to start to be picky about your setups. Only take the best ones and make the ones that make absolute sense to get involved in, because if you start trying to trade everything that moves, you're just going to cost yourselves money. Okay, the spreads are going to cost you money. You'll take trades that don't make any sense, and it's a loser's game essentially. So you need to be picky about the trade setups that you're taking. Then roll on Friday, and we get some nice moves, but unfortunately we just don't get everything lined up for us. We actually get one opportunity to go short. However, we don't get to get involved in that opportunity because the CCI doesn't line up for us. The market starts to fall through the floor, which is what we like to see. Unfortunately, when we get the pullback, which is a very nice pullback, so this is pretty much a picture perfect trade, apart from the fact that the CCI is above positive 50. So the CCI is telling us not to get into the trade, and therefore we don't get to get involved in this one over here. And that sort of wraps up our week, because then there's nothing else on the table for the rest of the day. Okay, so I hope you found it useful. If you've got any questions, as always, please feel free to drop us an email. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and until next week, good trading. Take care.